Welcome back to the LIVgreat Podcast, where we talk about all things community, connection, and I meet with incredible people shaping life here in Washtenaw County. I'm your host, Diane Crouch, and today I am thrilled to introduce someone whose talent and generosity have left a lasting mark in our community. So joining me today is Amber Wardia, who is the owner of the Enchanted Oven Bakery, and she's known for her breathtaking cakes and also her annual pot pie fundraiser, which benefits food gatherers. And this year will mark the 5th annual pot pie fundraiser. And at a time when more families than ever are struggling with food insecurity, Amber's mission, it really truly matters. So Amber, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit, take us back to the very beginning of Enchanted Oven and tell us how that started.
Well, it started back in about 2008 after I had my third child, my daughter. She was just a baby. I had started doing cakes. I loved making cakes, but actually when I took my first Wilton class, which Wilton is usually the first step in cake decorating, you go and you take it at Michael's or something like that. I couldn't figure out why all the frosting smells were making me want to throw up. Well, it turned out that I was pregnant and I had to wait a while, about 9 months, before I could do cakes again. And once I had my daughter, I took her with me to a catering company, and I just had her in her little carrier, and I said, hey, I want to start making cakes, and I need a commercial kitchen. Can I rent it from you? And the owner said, sure. So I started out doing only cakes, out of her shop. That was in Birmingham, and it went really well, and it was kind of growing really fast. The more I started getting these big cake orders, she said, well, we need to readjust the rent. And I went, uh-oh.
Yeah.
Because I really wasn't ready to fully commit to a big rent. I just had 3 babies back to back. And so I said, well, it's kind of far from home anyway. I was working long hours. I need to really think this through and maybe get my own storefront. Because if I'm going to go all in, I'm going to go all in on my own, and I'm not going to drive. I was driving an hour to get there. So it was just a natural progression. It just started way back then, someone else's kitchen. I started dipping my toes in, and then over time, now we have 2 locations of our own.
Have you always been interested in baking or cooking or?
I always wanted to have my own business since I was a kid. Instead of playing house, I played business.
Yeah.
And I had different businesses. And I used to think that I would own either an ice cream shop or a candy shop. Something that I always wanted to do, something that made people really happy. Once I had my kids, I started making their birthday cakes, and that's where I was like, okay, I can do this, and this is really fun and rewarding. And I loved baking anyway.
Yeah.
So
it's something you kind of had a passion for.
I started developing a passion for it. The more I got into it, it's instant reward. I mean, it's, as soon as someone picks up the order, they're going to be thrilled. Usually, if you did a good job, they'll be thrilled with it. And so you get that reward right away. And then you don't have to look at it anymore. It's not like a portrait or something that you're going to find flaws. I mean, it's kind of out the door.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
The name Enchanted Oven, that sounds really magical. How did you come up with that name?
Just a lot of brainstorming. And I was really into Hansel and Gretel and always kind of been goth back in the day. And I just thought something that sounded kind of like a play on what does that exactly mean? And sometimes people ask me, like, how did you come up with that name?
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, it can mean whatever. It's just me being weird, I guess.
Yeah, it's got kind of different meanings according to who's saying it. So,
but it is an enchanted oven because once we put the things in the oven, they come out and they are kind of magical.
Yeah.
It fits.
Yeah, I think it fits perfectly.
Thank you.
What do you love most about running a bakery? Now, you said you had 2 stores. What do you love most about doing that within our community?
Well, I love that I get to meet so many awesome people, and I also get to work with my kids every day because they've grown up now. And they all work with me. I just got to have them with me all the time. They'd get off the school bus and come right to work with me. They had a playroom in the back. They helped customers. They folded. I think the first things they did was they always folded the boxes.
Yeah.
They always wanted to help. So it was like, fold the boxes. And then they just started doing more and more. And now my son's a full-time baker with us, and he also goes to school full-time. My daughter runs the Celine store, and she goes to school full-time. And my youngest is still in high school, but she does all the cupcakes.
Yeah, I love that.
That's really nice.
Yeah. So you mentioned that you have 2 stores now. So tell us from when you opened that first store, how's the business changed? How has it evolved since then?
Well, the very first brick and mortar store that I got actually was in Florida. We moved during the recession to Florida and for work. And so that was a totally different community. I mean, very Greek. So we have some things that are kind of inspired by the Greek culture on our menu still to this day. We have key lime pie still to this day on our menu, and we make a really amazing key lime pie. And it's because, you live in Florida, it's totally different. The flavors are different.
Right.
So that experience was great, but it taught me how to deal with building a wedding cake in high heat, high humidity. Those skills definitely transferred over when I moved back home, but there's nothing like being home. I mean, I'm so happy to be back home.
Yeah.
I'm not a Florida girl.
You don't love the sunshine, the Florida sunshine?
There's such a thing as too much of a good thing.
That's true. That's true. So now you came back from Florida. What happened then?
So I came back from Florida and thought, well, gee, I'd rather have a regular paycheck for a change. I'm going to go work for someone else. And that didn't last. And I have all these ideas in my head, and when I see somebody doing something what I think is the wrong way, I'm like, wait, let's not do it that way. I was actually working for a very large catering company in Ann Arbor, and I was running the pastry department. And they wanted the middleman in that kind of operation was the wedding planner.
Yeah.
They had a whole team of wedding planners, and they would sell these things that were very hard to produce or just very awkward or not. I thought that, there'd be better ideas of things that we could do. And I was just told, these relationships take years to build, when you work with U of M directly, because I said, well, why do we have to have the middleman? When they go to the dessert part, let me talk to them directly. I can sell them things that I think will work better or that we can make easier. And I was just told, no, these relationships have been built and fostered and, you can, no way. Mm-hmm. So it was frustrating. And that wasn't the reason why I left, but it was just little things like that where I felt like I just need to work for myself. Mm-hmm. So I did leave, and then within probably 5 months, built a relationship of my own with U of M and realized, as long as you have a good product, and if you get face-to-face with someone and they meet you and they feel confident with you, they're going to trust you. And with U of M, do one wedding, and if we like it, we'll put you on a preferred vendor list. And
right.
That's where it grew. And then from there, I liked being on the U of M preferred vendor list, and I got the idea, well, let's just do more preferred vendor lists. Let's build a whole network. So we have a very big network of vendors that we work with. That's our bread and butter. The retail is just, it's just extra. It's great to have the face-to-face with customers. I would say our events, like more so like almost like a wholesale account.
Yes.
But it's many, many, many vendors that refer to us. Mm-hmm. And I love it. Because you get to know their people, and it's just fast. It's a lot of the same thing over and over, but tweaked to that couple's or that party's aesthetic.
Okay, so tell us about what products you make.
Well, we specialize in cakes, but believe it or not, nowadays weddings, these couples don't really want wedding cakes too much. It's kind of like the parents are at the wedding consultation and trying to say, well, no, you have to have a cake.
Yeah.
But a lot of times they don't want one. They want individual desserts. So we do a lot of sweet tables.
Okay.
We do packages. I mean, these packages are just things that I come up with. I mean, we were doing, mid-sized packages, and I said, well, let's see if we can because sometimes people would order 2 of the package. Let's just put a bigger one on and see what happens. That's now our biggest package.
Really?
Now I'm thinking of making an even bigger one. But, I mean, you're talking about 500 plus desserts that have to go out for one wedding, and sometimes we're doing 5, 6, 7 weddings in a weekend.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
It's a lot of food storage space, square footage that we have to have on wheels.
Right.
So then we had to, it's like if you give a mouse a cookie, you can take on these things, but then you have to have a bigger oven. You have to have a delivery vehicle. You have to have people to do it, because if you have 2 weddings at the same time, what are you going to do? One's in Saline, and one is in Fenton. And we do go all over.
Okay.
And that's my favorite part about wedding weekends is that when we set up the final last wedding, we're usually starving, we're usually exhausted. But we're in some place that we, don't get to go to often, so we get to explore.
Yeah. So you do the big events and the catering, the sweet tables, and then tell me about the 2 retail stores that you have.
So, yeah. basically we had a store in Saline. That's where we kind of started to build up our events and work with U of M, Wellers, and things like that in Saline. And things were going great. We were there for 5 years, and we suddenly, unexpectedly lost our lease. That was a huge financial setback for us and for our family. And so, because I'm, this is my only source of income.
Right.
So I almost went out of business. Truthfully, thank God that I found a church that would rent space out to us so we could get through that wedding season that we were in. We finished up all of our weddings, and we just started looking for a new space. We did find a space pretty quickly, and that's the cafe that we have right now. It's at North Territorial and Pontiac Trail. And so that needed a whole build out. It took so long. There was a lot of red tape. And in the meantime, the money that I had set aside for this second location became not only the money that we had to live on, pay bills with, eat with, but we still had to save some of it to put into our build out.
Right.
So by the time that we opened up, we were significantly in debt. And it looked like, are we even going to make it at this point?
Right.
But you have to take it one day at a time, and you have to just do your best. I mean, I put everything that I built for, at that point, I think it had been like 12 years. I put everything into that moment. We just have to keep going. And that's what we've done. Now we have the new Saline store, so we're back to where we sort of started, and that's going really well. And now we're just trying to kind of almost like level out and then eventually hopefully make some money.
Right. Wouldn't that be lovely?
But because of all the setbacks that we had, making a difference in the community, and we've had our own setbacks, we've had our own problems with paying bills, we've had our own problems with needing food. Those are things that are important to me and my kids. And so we always make that a priority in giving back.
Right.
That's how the fundraiser came about for the Thanksgiving pot pie fundraiser.
Yeah. So expand on that. Yeah.
That came about during COVID. During COVID, no one wanted cake. No one wanted sweets because you weren't allowed to have parties. I think 10 of us or 8 of us could get together.
Right. Yeah.
And you weren't encouraged, and you were supposed to, not do that. Any weddings or events that we had on the books, they canceled.
Yeah.
And we refunded them. So a lot of these places didn't, or weren't able to. We actually, thank God, got some money for COVID relief. We used that to give refunds to a lot of these people because they were struggling. So thank God I was able to get through that. And we refunded everyone. And then we went, okay, now we're going out of business. It just seems like every time, I turn around, like every few years, it's like, we're going out of business. So that was it. I accepted it. My employees left. They went to do other things. And I encouraged them to, because we had no parties on the books and none were coming, and we thought the world was ending. But again, God got involved, and God always is. And thankfully, my brother-in-law had the genius idea of, well, why don't you just do food? That's what everyone wants, and no one can go to the store and no one can eat out. So why don't you just deliver? Thank God, because I was just so focused on one thing, and I couldn't see the obvious answer that we had an oven, we had a stove. There's a lot of things that we can do differently.
Right.
I was just so set in my ways. That was a huge life-changing and career-changing moment, because it taught me to be so flexible, and you cannot stay stuck in one thing.
Right.
You cannot stay stuck in one way of thinking, because as soon as you get settled, as soon as you get comfortable, it is going to change. Guaranteed.
Right. You're going to get a curveball, and you've got to be able to shift.
Exactly, and that's the only way to survive. So meaning me and my kids, started packing these lunches, and we started making soups, and we started making breads, and we would include a cookie.
Yeah.
And we would deliver, and people loved it.
Were you in the Saline
We were
shop
still in
then?
that first Saline store at that time. And then we started going, well, wait, maybe we can make bigger things instead of just lunches. Let's make dinners for people. Mm-hmm. People were in the hospital at that time, and they were sick. So a lot of neighbors were like, I really want to send something to my neighbor or my friend or my relative who can't leave the house because they were quarantined. And so that's when the pot pie started. And so we started doing these pot pies, and then social services found out, Saline area social services. So we started working directly with them, providing pot pies directly for them. I'm working with their director at the time, who was like, we need meals. We just need to feed people. So we started doing hundreds of them. And it ended up to get, in a couple years' time, too big for Saline Area Social Services. They were in the old building at that time.
Yeah.
And they had very limited storage. So we ended up going to food gatherers and saying, hey, this is really popular, but Saline Area Social Services has their challenges. They didn't have a big enough freezer. They didn't have, and I didn't either. My first Saline store was, I think, 600 square feet.
Yeah.
We had a tiny, tiny space. And so food gatherers got involved, and food gatherers said, we work with Saline Area Social Services, so that your Saline people will still get them.
Yeah.
It's just that we'll take them to our facility first, and then we'll distribute them. And then they'll go all through Washtenaw County. So currently the goal is 300 families that we would be able to feed. And, things twist and turn, and now we're dealing with this, SNAP EBT card. Everyone's, worried about holiday menus and food and being able to feed themselves or their families for the holidays, and the need never stops.
Right, absolutely. So tell us about how people can purchase the pies, or how they can get involved and help the community and help you help the community.
So the best way is to go on our website. We have a link under pies, and there's a donation link, and you can also buy one for yourself. There's a price break donating some of our, we basically don't make money on these.
Right.
So we're taking, the donation price is much lower, and then we make the pies, we schedule with food gatherers, they come pick up once a week. And then you can also just buy for your family if you want, but that's a separate listing. So just make sure you go on the donation listing, it says it in capital letters, and then you can just donate as many as you'd like. We're doing it through the end of November.
Okay, and I'll make sure that we have all of the information in the show notes so that people can make sure that they have the links right there. It's just amazing, and I love the way that you've taken your skills from originally, baking cookies and cakes and all of that kind of stuff. And like you said, you were stuck in that mindset of this is what I do, until somebody said, well, what about this? And you totally just took a different direction and were able to meet that need for the community right there.
Which helped me because it grew my skill set, it built my confidence, it made me realize, it taught me a lot of life lessons, and also those were more networking opportunities. Every time that we get a new order or a new customer, we come in contact with a new company, even if it's Saline Area Social Services or food gatherers.
Yeah.
That is exposing us to more people who then say, well, let's support them.
Yeah, I love that.
So it helps. It always just kind of comes full circle.
Yeah. That's awesome. Love it. So running a small business and organizing this fundraiser at the same time, that's a lot to handle. How do you balance everything?
I don't. I'm usually going insane. Hey, I just talked to my son yesterday, and he is 20 now, and he wants to get started in a career, and he's very undecided. He's been at Washtenaw Community College, and he's incredibly gifted with baking.
Yeah.
And he takes it for granted because he thinks everybody is gifted, and trust me, they're not. We've had a lot of employees. We have a great group of employees right now, but he is very gifted. I would like to, I'm getting to where I would like to start kind of taking less of a role in the day-to-day.
Yeah.
And he is planning on stepping up, and I will help him. And also, we're getting some new software that's going to make a lot of things easier for us, because I do a lot of handwritten production schedules and lists, and so you have the right equipment, you have the right team, you have people that want to be there and that are passionate, and I'm kind of at this point, I think that they can do this without me being there all the time.
Right. It's time for you to kind of pass on
the
baton and see where the path takes you next.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I'm excited about it, and they're excited about it.
Yeah, I love that. So you mentioned that there have been times where you thought you were going to lose everything, or,
It's almost every day.
It keeps you going every day.
God, for sure. God has been big. He's gotten me through so many things, and every hardship, it sounds so cliche and so cheesy, but it has taught us so much, me and the kids, to be resilient, to trust in him and let him lead us. The community has been amazing. And if something's not working and you try to fight it, or you try to, do your best to adapt, and then it still doesn't work, you have to accept it. And maybe that's a sign that you need to go in a different direction. So I stay open-minded, and I try to look at every door that closes as a new opportunity, and just keep going day by day. That's all I can do.
Yeah. How do you feel this project, the charitable component, how do you think that this has changed you as a person and as a business owner over the past 5 years?
Well, this is an extension of something that started when we had our store in Florida. And so when we had the bakery in Florida, Food Network was huge. Yeah. I don't know if it's still, I don't watch those shows anymore because I can't, it reminds me too much of work. Everyone goes, do you watch all these shows? I'm like, never. But at the time, there were all these celebrity chefs, and I had my favorite celebrity chefs. Well, it turned out that one of the celebrity chefs was going to be doing this fundraiser for domestic violence awareness, and it was right at one of my then preferred network vendors at their venue. And you could sign up to volunteer. So, of course, I signed up to volunteer because I just wanted to meet him.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started, because I did it selfishly. I had my own selfish reasons, and I didn't it's not that I didn't care about the cause, but I wasn't thinking about the cause when I signed up. But from that moment, and I did that one with my sister because she's still in Florida now, but we were kind of working together at the bakery there. We both got involved. I think that was when I started to change, and I realized giving back is so rewarding. And ever since that one event, it's just been nonstop. And it's usually either going to be domestic violence or food insecurities that we do. We get a lot of requests, and we also do a lot of giving back with local schools.
Yeah.
It's just, it feels good, and it's always beneficial. It always comes, like I said, full circle. The more you network, that is networking. I would say to anybody opening a business, if you can give back, you're just going to network, and it's going to come back to your business.
Yeah, it just comes full circle. What you give, you get back 100-fold.
Exactly.
Yeah, definitely. What do you think? What's next for you? What would, if you could look into the future 5 years down the road?
Diane, I want to buy a house.
I know somebody that can help you with that.
You remember that I wanted to buy a house years ago.
Yeah.
And at that time, we had COVID, and it was not the right time to buy a house. And then, I lost my store. I lost my lease, not because of financial reasons or anything like that, just because I had a genuine disagreement with my landlord, and my lease happened to be up, and we had to part ways. Yeah. And it was very sudden. And at that point, everything that I had saved for a house went back into my business. So the goal is, like I said, and then, getting the cafe opened up, and that was expensive. And now opening the store in Saline, and that was expensive. And then I had to buy a work vehicle, like I said, for all these deliveries. The goal really is that I would kind of start to hand the company over to my kids, and that I would get to just be, retired soon.
What does retire? So if you were not working, what would fulfillment look like to you?
I just want to, I'm a homebody. I'll still be baking. My kids laugh all the time because they say you never get a day off, and then as soon as you finally get a day off, you're making all this stuff like banana bread and muffins, and because I'm like, I want them to be able to have it as a snack, and it's good.
Yeah.
It's better than buying it at the store because they put all that additives in there.
Yeah.
So I'm sure I would still be baking, but I would be doing it for family.
Yeah. So you would be baking in your own home, on your own terms, what you want when you want.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the life. For me, I just want the white picket fence and the nice house.
Oh, I love that vision.
Yeah.
One day we'll get that for you. All right. So I'm going to leave all of your contact information in the show notes. But just quickly, the quickest way for people to find you, to reach out to you, how would they do that?
EnchantedOven.com has everything on there. Go to the pies listing, click on that donation tab. The rest of the menu is there too. We're putting our holiday stuff up right now, but the fall menu is up already. So we got all the pies. We may make pumpkin, sweet potato, cream pies, fruit pies. Everything is 100% from scratch.
Yes.
And then, you can shop on there, you can check out online, or you can call.
Yeah. Quick fire questions for you.
Okay.
All right. If it was just for you personally, do you prefer sweet or savory?
Now savory, but it used to be sweet.
Okay.
I think I've had a lot of sweets in my life.
Your go-to comfort foods?
My go-to comfort foods would be sweets. Still, even though I don't indulge as much.
All right. If you were going to bake something for a dream celebrity, who would that be?
Wow. I think it would be really cool to bake for Buddy Valestro. He's the celebrity cake boss.
Oh, okay. That would be a good one.
He was a huge inspiration to me back in the day, and it would just be nice.
Oh, that's cool. Your favorite holiday tradition?
A big Thanksgiving dinner with my kids. at the table.
I love that. I love the fact that you've mentioned your kids so many times.
I love them.
Yes, yes, I love it. If you could describe Enchanted Oven in 3 words, what would they be?
Local, natural, quality.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, Amber.
Thank you. It was so fun.
Yeah, and thank you for making our community a better place.
Thank you.
And for everything that you do and the pie fundraiser and all of it. So if anybody listening wants to support Enchanted Oven's 5th annual pot pie fundraiser, visit the website or look for them on Facebook their Facebook page. Every pie that you purchase, Food Gatherers will pass that on to a family that needs it right here in Washtenaw County. So it's helping right here on our own doorstep.
It is, and it's whole roasted turkeys, real carrots, real, nothing frozen. We're not cutting corners.
Yeah. High quality, good food.
Very much so.
Feeding bellies, and that's what's important. I'm Diane Crouch, and this has been another episode of the Live Great Podcast, where we celebrate people who are doing wonderful things locally, one day at a time. So until next time, stay kind, stay tuned, and have a great rest of your week.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. Bye-bye.
Bye.